Good morning, Service Lines community. How y'all doing today? Brother Doug, what's up, man?
I don't know, man. I am so burnt out right now. Oh, wait. Isn't that our topic?
It is.
Yeah. 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 When I want to feel bad for myself and like why is everything falling apart or feels like it is, I start to say things that are rude and disrespectful. So I try not to say them out loud, but I say things like this. Damn, they just don't make people like they used to. Like back in the day, it was the last week of August that we started to fray a little bit and get burnt out. And it does seem like it's happening sooner through the busy summer as it starts. But we're in a different place in a different world, and we have to respect everyone from their own perspective. But this is the time in our industry, is the roofing industry. This is the stress time right now. The
Oh,
grind
yeah.
has been grinding. You're taking advantage of all the good weather, and
Yeah.
this is when people are expecting their roofs to be done when it's 100 degrees out and you guys are cooking up on the top.
Yeah. This is a great topic because I spent 4 months of the winter just doing nothing because I was burnt out completely and utterly spent.
So your slower season, you needed part of that time to recover.
Yeah, I had a lot of plans for off season and
Huh.
absolutely none of them got done because I was fried. So, we're talking about how to kind of recognize and prevent that. Um,
Is it?
and
Is
just
it? I'm gonna assume things because cycling just. I mean, it should be banned in North America and the United States. It's just something that doesn't seem American. Sounds a little French to me actually. But anyway, you do have to kind of set. You have to build up and develop a what is it, like a base level or a base rate where you can consistently do that for long distances, and you're trying to grow that up so that you can have your peaks and your spikes to make an extra push. But you got to be able to have that. But it's not base, but you have to have that base level of a pace that you want to maintain. And I bet you what you started out with and where you're at now is vastly different. So probably the same thing goes with our work life, that we have to be able to work at efficiencies and making ourselves building up those muscles up here and our intuition so that we don't burn out and stress out about silly things. And that gives us that pace that we can stay at a high level when we're coasting along.
yeah.
Good analogy or bad analogy? Because
No,
if
it's
it's a bad
perfect.
analogy, we'll just
No,
wrap this
it's
cast
it's
right up.
it's a perfect one. You got to know when to take those rest days too, right?
That's true too.
When
Yeah.
when I little story, when I started training, I was going 7 days a week, no rest, no nothing. And then I began to hit plateaus where I couldn't push through. And the secret was rest.
Mm, mm,
So if you're hitting those plateaus in your business, if you're hitting these walls in your business, chances are you probably need some rest.
mm.
It does really help you um, rejuvenate. We actually I got a verse for today.
What? Well,
All
why don't you fire up the verse and give us the prayer today then?
right, Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened. I will give you rest, and the right kind of rest.
Mm,
That rest in Christ is good. So let's pray it up. Dear Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this time together. Father, we know that the busy season can be stressful. I pray for each of our members in the audience that they would take that needed rest, that they would take that time with their families and take that time to recharge, take that time being in your word and learning more about who you are each day. And Father, I just pray you
mhm.
bless the conversation today. In Jesus' name, amen. So,
it, it does, Zach, make me think that it starts at the very top, doesn't it always?
mm,
Like if we as business owners are at our wits' end
mhm.
and we act and sound like we're at that level of heightenedness and stress and grouchiness, it is going to trickle down.
Oh yeah.
So it's, I think sometimes it might be harder for us that we have to absorb their stress, put ours aside for a moment, right? And come alongside them and give them words of encouragement, help them push through this plateau that they're experiencing in the moment, right? And then we can put our stuff back into us that we're struggling with.
I
Uh,
you know, I don't know, maybe this is counter to what you're saying. I don't know.
Shocking, shocking
As
fact.
well, maybe it's in line, maybe it's counter. I don't know. Um as leaders in the company, right? We kind of set that temperature, we set that culture, the buzzword, right?
Mm,
Um we're the ones who kind of dictate what that is, right? By who we bring in, by how we approach our team, by how we interact with our customers, all that stuff. And so, if we are setting the standard of burnout, everyone else is going to follow.
mm,
And pretty soon, we're going to have a revolving door of employees be- because we're not machines, right? Like, we're not meant to just keep going and going and going. We have to recognize these patterns, we have to set rest periods in place. And so, if as the leaders, we're setting this standard of you have to be burnout to be good, to make money, to do whatever, we're setting our team up for failure automatically, right? And so, you've used this analogy before. You got to put your oxygen mask on first. You got to figure out how to recognize burnout, how to prevent burnout, and then
mm.
set that tone for the rest of the team.
Right.
Because otherwise, everyone's just going to end up in this perpetual order of burnout.
Yes.
So,
Yep. We're on the same page. It's all there.
see?
That's how we do it, right, Zach? And I think that when we're looking at our team, we're all made up differently,
Hmm.
and we have different strengths and we have different weaknesses. And something that stresses out one employee may not stress out another. I equate to a job of digging holes. It's a low mind threshold thinking. It's just a very much a doing thing, right? But you take someone on your team and you ask them, last fall or last winter, hey, would you be willing to lead part of the company or part of your team, the team? That's a whole new level of stress that is different than digging holes, different than going into a customer's home and taking care of one at a time, each one at a time, doing a great job. So that's a whole new learning curve and a different type of stress where you can come home exhausted from thinking, from being empathetic and stepping into people's lives that are frustrated and upset, especially during the busy season. You can come home exhausted. And so if you just a quick reminder, anybody on your team is new to a role that they have, understand that it's a different type of stress, and you have to give them a chance to recover, as you said, Zach.
Yeah. So, what is burnout? It's more than being tired. Um, it's emotional exhaustion. It's cynicism. It's a drop in performance, motivation, right? Um, that's burnout, right? Like, there's this lethargicness, right? Like, you just don't want to do anything. And it is very common in high responsibility roles, in customer facing roles. Um, Not everyone is different. Some people really thrive in that kind of thing, but it is more common in those kind of roles. And so what are we watching for? You said you're kind of experiencing some burnout. What were some of the things that you started to recognize for you? And then I'll go through the list.
Well, I think for me, being aware of it and paying attention, I'm going to have a different heightened maybe senses than a technician that has been in the business now 2 years,
Mm,
and this is their second or third summer season. They may not have the signs, but I know for me, when uh, when I don't want to continue to work on goals, and I'm just trying to push them off and just maintain. When I'm looking forward to any kind of problems and fires to put out, if that can fill my day, I'm pretty happy. So when I'm off track on growing and building the business, and I don't have any desire to go there, that usually means that I need to take a break and
mm.
get refreshed, because the captain of the ship has to continue to maintain course and make the adjustments that have to happen. So stress level on my side, that's definitely a warning sign for me.
That can also be interpreted as less joy, and things that
Yeah.
motivate you, right?
Yes.
Which is one of the ones from the list. Um, Closing a sale, helping a customer,
Yep.
diagnosing that tricky appliance, diffusing a troublesome situation.
Right.
Things that if you're thriving, right? If you're at your best, bring you joy. They're the things
Mhm.
that kind of light you up. You're burnt out. Those things
Okay.
they're not going to be fun. They're not going to be
Yeah.
enjoyable.
Yeah.
You're going to kind of actually dread them
Yeah. For
to an
sure.
extent, right?
Things that don't normally bother me, I have less tolerance for. A normal interaction, a normal response from an employee that hasn't changed who they are, but it's changing how I'm receiving it. So I don't know, the technician that has that nature of coming in late and making excuses. This is the time of year when I hear it, or when it happens to me. In my head, I am looking for the old ways of torture, and that dungeon with the rack and all that. That all pops in my head. I know it's a me thing, and not a them thing, because if they're continuing a consistent pattern of who they are, then it's a me. It's a
Mhm.
me, and I have to make sure that I don't respond or react in that moment, because I don't have a clear head.
Yeah.
And I think that can go with any employee that's dealing with a customer facing customer. If you've seen it before, if it's typical and normal, but it's bothering you on this day more than ever or intensely, it's a you thing, not a them thing. And you have to do something quickly to recognize it and put it off. I remember a time, a very unhappy employee, and he wasn't around much longer. But I had to address some issues with him, and it was like a Tuesday morning before his first call. So I talked to him on the phone. He didn't like the responses. I was pretty professional about the whole thing, and literally his first call uh, called in right after he left, and they just said, "What is going on here?" This guy was, and he just had a bad attitude, and it was like 3 service calls in a row. Every single one of them called in. That's You have to try hard to
Mm.
upset 3 customers in a row, right? So I called them up. I said, just go home. I'll pay you for the day. Just go home, and let's start fresh tomorrow. Which was the beginning of finding out that you use the word joy. He had no joy in working with us,
Mm.
and so that's very hard to stay motivated to be the best version of yourself when you don't really want to be there. So I think it was summertime too. I
Yeah.
had to let them go in the summertime, and you can sit there and weigh, like, oh my gosh, the stress level that's going to put on the rest of the team to take those 9, 10 service calls a day. Where are they going to go? What about the customers? His area is busy. Like, you can put all that in your head, but nothing will get done if you try to force someone to find joy, right? So
Yeah. So what you're describing there with yourself, with your technician, irritability, short fuse with
yeah,
customers, team,
yeah,
family, those triggers that normally you can brush off. When you start going off like a nuke, um, you're in burnout,
Yeah.
right? Like, because that's not a normal
Right.
response. Saul hit one of the points here.
About his
Um,
mother-in-law?
no, this one.
Oh,
If your sleep is off, that's one of the signs, right? So
yeah.
chronic fatigue after rest, like you're just done.
Yeah.
You could sleep for 12 hours and you're
Yeah.
still done when you wake up. Um, that is a sign of burnout. And you really have to take some steps to kind of restore um, from that. The
And you can't force sleep either on
Yeah,
yourself. If
right.
you go to bed wound up, if you go to bed with the mindset that everything's broken right now or that there's no hope coming through this thing, you can lay in your bed all you want. You're not going to get the sleep you need. So it is about, to me, having some one-to-ones during the busy season. Don't make them long, 10, 15 minutes, but make them intentional. Mark it up in your calendar to call each person on your team, and you don't have to say much. You just ask them how they're doing, how they're feeling, what's some challenges going on, and then you might see an opportunity to um, offer them some wisdom and experience on how to manage whatever's going on. But more importantly, you're giving them recognition and you're potentially giving them permission to feel the way they're feeling, because you have some employees that are feeling terrible about where they're at and their mindset, and then they add a layer of guilt on
Mm,
top of it, like, oh my gosh, and I'm not even doing a great job for the company, I'm letting them down. That's just adding more types of stress and disappointment to your plate. It comes in different feelings, so you kind of give them a chance to, man, I wasn't that long that I was out there. I know when I was out there, I was feeling this, and this around this time. And they're like, wow, you were on the road. I'm like, of course I was on the road. And then that gives me credibility. And then I have a chance to say, sometimes your best is just, as you think it's super low. But if you got through the day and you powered through doing the best you can with your customers and with the stuff that makes it difficult for you, if you powered through, you celebrate that. And I got your back. Call me up if you need anything. Call me up if you need a break. And let's work together. That's giving them that appreciation and freedom to come talk to you as well.
So the last warning sign, feeling detached or numb at work. Like if you have this just like numbness and like just leave me alone,
Mm.
you're probably in burnout. Um, so some of the triggers, and we're in the season of all these triggers in, at least in the northern. I don't know about you southerners.
Mm.
This might be different for you, but in the north, we're in this right now. High call volume, um, some unrealistic expectations this time of year that we as owners kind of throw around on our team and ourselves. Um, Constant emergency calls or pressure to get it done, right? I need you out here today. I needed you out here a
Yeah,
week ago. Why aren't you here?
that can wear
Uh,
you down, can it?
yeah.
Just the tone from the customer. It's heightened on their end over, say, March,
Yep.
but it's different.
Lack of appreciation from clients or team.
Yep.
Um, and this goes for CSRs, for owners, for technicians, no matter where you are. This time of year, tempers run high because that pressure is always on.
Yeah.
And so you really internalize and feel that lack
Mhm.
of appreciation. Um, and kind of take it personally this time of year. And then no boundaries between work and personal life. Everything is work, 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 work.
Yeah.
Um, and so these are some kind of triggers, especially this time of year. So how do we kind of prevent that in the first place? What are some of the guardrails that we begin to put in place? So um,
Create.
SOPs, like,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
We're
you
on the
got to
same.
put the systems in place. Do not let your people not take rest, especially this time of year. I know the temptation is to get the money to make hay while the sun is shining, right?
Mhm.
Um, but you have to put some processes in place for people to take the time that's required, even in busy season, to kind of rejuvenate before they hit that burnout. Um,
Reasonable expectations, Zach, is something that's important. When your phones start ringing more than they ever have before, when the call count is at its greatest potential, sometimes you might want to just try to power through that and absorb and make the most of it by cranking up the effort on the team. You have to know your team well enough, like you said, and meter, and understand that you could go balls out there, but you might not be in a good condition for September, October, November. You might be rehiring new people, so you have to take reasonable bites out of your opportunity in the busy season. And so, for instance, this year I underestimated, and there's no way you can know. There's just, especially going from 2020 COVID to now, and you look at the trends before it, and it's there was that big bump
mhm.
in trying to predict what normal is. See, every year I've been doing this since 1988. There's always things that are changing and evolving and modifying, and so people not living in a house for 25 years, people not living in the same state and moving often, not keeping the same. Those are all trends that affect our busyness and our capacity. COVID was a big bump. And so now this year, it was it was like the end of May. I was like, we missed this. I could have used three more texts.
Mhm.
I could have used three more texts. And so, I anticipated what's going on right now, which is we're booking out farther than we wanted to. And we're asking more of the employees than maybe they can handle since they're half of them are green. So I could sit there and just say it's baptism by fire, and we'll get through this. Kind of is what I'm saying because we got no choice. But we have to reduce the expectations, and I'll get burnt out if I see that we're missing out on 30 calls or 40 calls a week that we could have got if I had three more texts, right? I could I could totally beat myself up, and all I'm doing is burning myself out, focusing on something that I missed. I just missed it, and I need to cut myself some slack there. So what your potential is and what your team is, try to stay in line with its and being reasonable about it. Don't get money hungry.
So set those work hours, stick to them. Limit the calls that you're going to take. Know what you truly can handle, what your
Yep.
technicians can handle, and stick to that.
Yep.
And learn to say no to work that doesn't align with your goals, personally and as a company, and learn a lesson from Doug. We preach this all year long. Doug and I have been preaching the same message all year long, but I'm going to say it again while we're in the heat of it. Learn the lessons from busy season right now and begin to plan
Mm.
for next busy season in the off season. You 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 got to get what you can now within those boundaries. Don't cry over spilt milk, right? Those 30 to 40 calls that if you had three more technicians, don't cry over that.
Right.
Just know, hey, here's what the pattern is, and begin to plan for that in the off
Sure.
season. Planning is the best prevention for burnout of
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
It's when we don't plan that we find ourselves in a bigger burnout, especially as owners, especially as owners.
Planning happens ahead of time. Execution is game time.
Yep.
And, and this year, well, maybe a year or two from now, I'll say, now I look back and reflect, I wasn't planning ahead fast enough, but we did have to replace CSR, and now we were behind the eight ball as the busy phone season came. So we saw it kind of late, and we hired another person along with a couple others because the new person isn't going to be fast enough and well enough, and so we've overhired, and it's still going to have that impact on the rest of the team because now they're training new people, which is slowing them down, and the phone volume is on. All I can do at this point now, Zach, is every weekly meeting, if I can jump in for a couple minutes and acknowledge the doubling down that they're doing, and letting them know that for next year, I'm going to try to be more prepared. So if your SOPs are behind and you can identify, you wake up in the middle of the night and you go, you know, half my problem is that people don't know what they're supposed to do. This isn't probably the time to go ahead and institute SOPs and try to create training process because you're just going to burn yourself out because they're not going to prioritize it because they're at the 10-foot level. You're at the 50-foot level, and you realize now if I do this step, this step, this step, and everybody follows those three steps, life will get easier like that. But they're not going to get the necessary buy-in to say, I'm going to change my habits and remember these three steps you just put in place in the midst of the summer. I'm already in survival mode, boss. And so I'm going to do what I know how to do well and try to avoid some of these new challenges to maintain and survive. So yeah, if you're late to the game, it's okay, man, because you got another season coming up. You've got another quarter ahead and developing that planning that you should do.
So part of planning is creating daily habits that kind of help prevent burnout, right? So one of the important ones, and for my fellow neurospices out there, this one is extremely important. Creating transitional routines from work to home, home to work, like creating those transition periods is extremely important. Okay. Um, take a shower, do a devotional, take a walk,
Mhm.
listen to a book, read a book, whatever it is, create that transition time between the different parts
Yeah.
of your life as you're
Yeah.
going to work, as you're coming from work. Make
Yep.
sure you create that transitional time. It is more important than most people realize, especially for the neurospices.
Right.
Um, get your sleep, whatever it is for you. Like I'm a 7 hour. I figured out that 7 to 8 hours is kind of like my sweet spot. Some people it's 6, some people it's 9. Whatever it is, figure out what time you need, um, and get that rest. Get your nutrition on point. Going through the drive-through 3 times a day, I'm telling you, is going to add to the burnout from experience.
Yeah.
um not giving your body that nutrition it needs, and then get some movement. I know Doug is, kind of staunchly opposed to this, but
Yeah.
it's
Movement's terrible. Yeah.
it if it's going to the gym and throwing around some heavy, iron discs, or taking a walk with the family, or going out and riding 50 miles, Rob Jones, um whatever it is, get that movement that you need, because it really does kind of help reduce stress
Yeah.
levels and
Yep.
focus your brain. And then take some micro breaks during the day. 5-10 minutes makes a big difference in resetting yourself and continuing on for the rest of the day.
And that strategy and plan can look vastly different from each person. So think about that if you have a team of 2, 3, or 5 people, right? I like to hear Saul say baloney in his
I
accent.
would love to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's different. So if you have a team, you need to be aware of it. It's almost like building up like a little profile.
Hmm.
You know, one that comes to mind for me is when you're again having those kind of random one-to-ones to check in on your team and ask how they're doing. If you're sensing that they're getting ready to hit that wall, you do something that connects to them, right? Like
Hmm.
if they like to golf, how about in 2 Fridays or from now, or next Friday, 2 Fridays, let's give you a half day schedule and a round of golf on Action Appliance because I appreciate all you're doing, and that might be something that the act of being aware that they're stressed out, knowing what's special to them, and then taking company time to give them that chance to do that can change things on a flip, right? Yes, sleep is what we need, Zach, but you have to be able to go to sleep. You have to figure out what's you and I are mindset people. I wish that everyone was because then the world would be perfect ish. But like literally, you can't go to sleep if your brain doesn't shut off or you're hyper focused on non truths or whatever. If you're bringing yourself down, going to sleep isn't going to necessarily be the catalyst that gets you out. So you have to figure out that random moment, that random act of kindness or awareness can for yourself or others can inspire people to relax, take a deep breath. You do it on a Friday. They have the weekend. They go to bed Friday night after a great day of appreciation from you just don't know. It might work and it might not work, but you got to do something instead of nothing.
I have figured out for myself the best way to kind of wash the day away, no matter what the day. So we put my kid to bed about 9 o'clock at night, 8:30, 9 o'clock. We start getting her down for bed. And after she is in bed, I've been going and taking a walk
Mm,
outside. My wife, she's been doing exercise routine in the house, whatever. But for me, it's been going and taking 1 2 mile walk. I know it's
yeah,
dark outside. I don't care. There's fresh air. I put on my open earphones so I can still hear things around me, and I listen to an audible book and just take a walk. And I
yeah,
don't. I actually I enjoy learning more, but for those moments, I've been listening to the Dune books, the Dune series.
there you go. Yeah,
It's sci-fi, it's fantasy, it's it takes me away from everything that I have to focus on in the course of the day, and it kind of
mm,
helps me tune down the noise in my own head so that when I
mm,
do go down to go to sleep for the night, right? I've brought the noise of
yeah,
the day
yeah,
to a minimum. So find that thing that works for you. It that took a lot of experimentation to figure that out for
yeah,
myself.
yeah,
But find that thing that works for you and make that part of your routine, you know. I yeah, I can see that, so I can see you listening to Eye of the Tiger as you go and take a walk. None of that surprises me.
I don't know. If he starts like dancing or something, I can see someone calling the police. Just guy walking down the road.
So one of the other important things is staying connected. Isolation fuels that burnout. I experienced that over the winter. You get isolated, and so stay active in the community, the Service Lines group community. Stay active in the Facebook page. Connect with others. Connect with a mentor, um, or a coach. Someone who gets it. That you really just you don't find yourself in
Mm,
that isolation,
yeah.
um, and listen when your body when your mentor, when your friend is telling you, hey, you might need a break here, you might need to take a step back, trust them because they're recognizing something in you that you might not
Yeah.
be able to see in the heat of it.
Yep.
Um, as owners, this is kind of a bonus thing. I want to share a story. I have friends. They've been friends for 8 years now. Own an HVAC company in Oklahoma. It's the heat of the season there. These guys are up in attics because I don't have the basements like up here in Chicago where we put all our furnace and AC. Their crap is up in the attic, and these guys are hot and sweaty and dirty all the time. The owners of the company do a baseball night every year, right smack in the middle of the busiest part of the season. They've kind of figured out when it works, and they invite their employees, all their families. They don't care.
Whew.
They had 245 people at their last event. They have a very big team, but all the family members came, everyone came to this baseball game. There's 245 of them there, and the company pays for all of it because they recognize the importance of showing appreciation, of having that time together, of having that relax, right? They don't use that fake, we're a family, blah, blah, blah. No, they recognize that people have families and they need an outlet. They need time to spend together, and they take the time to pay for it for the team. So figure out what that thing is for your company. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if that's a baseball game, a hockey game, or whatever it is for you guys. Find that thing and show your team, show their families that you care. That it's not just about making the money during the day, but it is really truly about taking care of the employee and their families, and helping them make a better life. Show that recognition. It's important.
It's a great idea. That's a big step. That's a big picture thing. That has so many implications. But the message is you're important to us, and we want to show you that appreciation. Right?
Yeah.
Love it.
As we wrap up, the last thing I want to leave you guys with: create a culture within your company, and it starts with you, that promotes rest, respect, purpose. Train your team to recognize burnout in themselves and others and help each other. Train your team to help each other recognize these patterns and create those moments where they can take that step back, and really get rejuvenated. So it's good stuff. You got any final thoughts there, Doug?
Whatever you figure out today, in July of 2025, probably be different next year. Um, Understand that whatever you come up with is because you're sensing the temperature of the room and your team, and you're meeting them where they're at that day, at that time. It might not be the secret sauce formula that you do every single year that automatically releases it. It's a continual effort to come alongside. And the last thing is everyone is different. So if you had 10 technicians and 6 of them thrive in this time and 4 don't, that's not 4 bad technicians. That's different minded people. And so everyone is going to handle stuff in a different way. So don't compare one employee to another. You have to measure them to their expectation of their job. But if somebody shows weakness and struggle in one area and another doesn't, that doesn't make them better. It's just different. And that's our job, is to be managers of people and to inspire and coach and hold them up to the to the best standard they can live out to. So different for everybody.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. Speaking of Community Service Alliance Group.com masterminds, we have one coming up. TK just led one this past weekend. Mike will be leading AI for your service business on August 16th. Going to be a good one. AI is coming whether we like it or not. And so how do you embrace that and utilize that for your business? Mike is going to be talking all about that, along with other business owners who have been utilizing AI in their service businesses. So make sure you join All Access and become a part of those monthly masterminds. It at least once a month gives you a place where you're not isolated and you're around others who can kind of help you grow. And then appliancerepairconference.com, PSA conference in September. Mike, myself, and TK will be teaching some classes at PSA. Appliancerepairconference.com. Get your discount, find out all the details. My friend Tom Howard is going to be the keynote speaker there. His book just came out. I'm going to share that next week with you guys. I have my copy coming. But appliancerepairconference.com. It's a good chance to, in the fall, take some time to be around other business owners and kind of recharge and get some ideas for your business. So, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully you found this episode helpful. Hopefully some of these strategies for recognizing and preventing burnout will help you and will help your team. We will catch you next time on the grind, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.